So my presentation is on the business side of video games that no one really knows about and no one really talks about. I did my paper on it and I'm doing my presentation on it as well. There's so many things that the gaming developers need to do in order to produce games and sell the games and just get it out of the market so that people can enjoy them so that they can make a profit. There's so many things that people just need to take in consideration because it's not the only thing that leads into making the game. So many people just need to look at the price because the developers have to determine the price, and if the price is too high, no one will buy the game. And if the price is too low, they won't make any money. So they have to determine the perfect price so that the games can be flying off the shelf. And the gaming console, they need to determine what console the game will go to and what console will make them the most money. They can either do both consoles or one console or just do all three. Because if you stick with just PC, only people that have computers, gaming computers, can run the game and play the game. And if they just go for Xbox, only people that have an Xbox can play the game and run the game. PS4 is the same thing. They also need to think about, for a profit standpoint, what do they need to do to make the most amount of profit, and how are they going to do it? They need to figure out who are they going to sell to, like who are they looking to sell the game to, and who are they looking to put the game into. Like, are they going to just sell off from their app store, or are they going to sell it from like GameStop or Steam? They need to figure out that stuff, and they need to figure out how they're going to develop the game, and why developing games is just so hard nowadays, because you got to figure out everything when it goes with advertising, the price, who they're going to have make the game, and when they're going to do it, and when they're going to schedule a release. So how do they determine price? The past. The past is a huge indicator why video games are mostly $60 now. Throughout the past, throughout history, video games have stayed at the price of $60. They're starting to move up a little bit to $70, but it's only a $10 increase. So as the consoles switch over and upgrade, many people won't really care that the price is going up to $70 because it's still in that weird range of $60. But if they made the games too little a price, no gaming company will ever make profit because they just won't be making enough money. And if they make their video games like $100, $80, no one's gonna want to buy the game because like that's just it's just a ridiculous price. They gotta play to the audience because it's a psychology thing, kind of, because everyone has been buying video games that cost $60 because because that's what they're used to and that's what the past is, and everyone just likes what they're used to. So if they bump the price up to $80, $90, $100, no one's gonna be really inclined to buy the game because they're just not gonna want to spend all their money on games. They're just thinking it's way too expensive and it's not worth the price. And when it comes to prices, a lot of them stay at $60 to $70 range because they have all these in-game purchases like DLCs, like, and extra like coin systems, and just in-game purchases where they can get new skins, items, and just having a huge advantage over people. So when you think of all that, the price of $60 is still going to make them profit because they'll buy games. Like, if the game is good enough, they'll buy the in-game purchases so they can just have more fun, and then the company is going to make so much more money when they're buying the in-game purchases. How do they determine what console they are for? The main thing that determines what console they're for is contracts. And contracts play a huge role in this because if they're signed up to a contract for PS4, they can only sell games to PS4. And if they have one where it's for Xbox, they can only do Xbox. But if they have one where they don't really have a set contract of who they can sell to and who they can make the game for, they can do multi-console. So that's why a bunch of games are for dual consoles, like Xbox, PS4. You can play it on any one, and there's just not one set console where that game can be played. And a lot of things that are happening now is dual console play. Like with Call of Duty, you can play with your friends from Xbox and PS4 and PC now. And that was never really a thing until now. And the amount of controls, that plays a huge role when determining PC games and console games, because if the game has too many controls and like options, it would have to be for PC, because the controllers and the consoles aren't able to keep up with all the demands that certain video games that need. Like Rust, that has way too many commands and options and way too many things that the consoles just can't keep up with. So that also plays a huge role. How do they make their money? They make their money through advertising, because they need to be able to get their name out there so that people can know what is happening with that game and when the game's going to be released and what game is being made and what's in the game. Where they place their game purchase availability. That also plays a huge role, because people need to know where they can buy the games, like whether it's going to be in GameStop, Steam, or in their in-app purchases. Because a lot of people go to GameStop, but a lot of people are also switching to the online purchases, where they buy it through PS4 store or the Xbox store or just through Steam. And why is it so hard for gaming companies to produce games and to sell games? Because there's so many things to do. There's so many steps that they need to consider, like advertising, and like who's gonna make the game, when they're gonna do it, how are they gonna get their name out there, and how are they gonna sell it, and when is all this gonna be completed? And people just need to understand and they need to learn about the business side of making video games and how important it is. And that's all I came to talk about. And I hope you like the message. And I hope we can all learn more about how video games play into business.